The biggest problem that I've had with the Triumph 20.
Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah.
Hi everybody and welcome to today's video. My name is Matt and this is What Matters to Matt. And yes, on today's video, we are going to be talking about the Saucony Triumph 20 after 500 plus kilometers. Now I know that's not a ton of kilometers and I intend on getting a whole lot more kilometers put into this shoe, but it's enough that I feel like it's going to give me a good idea of exactly how long this shoe is going to last and exactly how long it has held up so far. And I know a lot of shoe reviewers out there who probably have a lot more shoes to test than I do. So for me, it's really interesting when I get to do these long-term reviews. Last year, I did a lot of kilometers in the Triumph 19. I'm pointing back there because I know it's somewhere back there on the shelf. This year, I'm doing a lot of kilometers in the Triumph 20. And normally what I do is I try to hold off until towards the end of the video when I'm doing a shoe review to kind of give you an idea of whether I thought it was a good purchase, whether it's worth my hard-earned cash. But then I realized and I recognize that usually it's pretty easy to tell as I'm going through the video. So I am going to say right off the bat that yes, the Saucony Triumph 20 was definitely worth every single penny, regardless of whether you had to pay for it at full price or you were able to pick it up on a discount. It has been worth it. And yes, I am going to continue to do this shoe, but slightly different purpose for this shoe than how I had originally intended. And if you want to see my original review on this shoe after getting the chance to run in it for just a few kilometers, I'll put it up here on the screen. We're going to talk about a couple of the specs, and then as usual, we'll go through the shoe, the upper, the midsole, the outsole, talk about how it feels and how it's held up. Let's jump into the specs. All right, so to just cover off a couple of the quick specs for you, Saucony does consider this to be a neutral daily trainer, a little bit leaning towards the max cushion end of things. There is a 10 millimeter drop in this shoe with 37 millimeters in the heel and 27 millimeters in the forefoot. Saucony does list the weight of this shoe as 274 grams or 9.7 ounces. But in my men's size 13, we're looking at about 337 grams. And also this comes with Saucony's Power Run Plus midsole, and inside in the insole of this shoe is also a little bit more Power Run Plus that you're also going to find in a number of different Saucony shoes. So let's dive into talking about the upper of this shoe, just the fit, how it's felt, and how it's actually holding up over all those different kilometers. And I will say, if we want to start back here at the heel, now this is just about as sturdy as a heel can get. This heel, there's no give to that whatsoever. And also I will say, if there's one thing that I'm not sure whether it's gonna fit everybody that well, is just this is a little bit narrow in the heel collar. Now for me, I like that. It is a really snug fit, even though it's fairly narrow. There's still quite a bit of cushion back here. So it really is snug and provides a really good lockdown. You are looking at a mesh upper here, not quite as breathable as in the Saucony Triumph 19, but if you did watch my review on the Triumph 19 at a similar mileage, I think I was around 300 miles in that review, I talked about getting a decent hole that was forming in the side of the shoe. Ultimately, that is what put that shoe out of commission for me and I stopped riding in it, was the hole that I got in the side of the shoe. And I haven't had that problem with this one. So even though it's not quite as breathable, it's plenty breathable. And I'm feeling that the upper on this one's gonna last just a little bit longer. And I actually think that that was one of the things where they got the feedback from some different folks that were running in the 19 to change the upper, because there had been a few people that had those different problems. Now, I'm not seeing any wear and tear in this upper at all. The other thing that's included in this, and you'll see this in a lot of other Saucony shoes, are these little pull tabs here that ultimately they're there to help with the lockdown in the shoe. Now, if you look inside of the shoe, and there's no way I'm going to be able to see this on camera, there is those pull tabs. You can actually see them inside of the shoe, just the way they wrap around the inside of the foot. And I like a pretty snug fit. And the other day when I was running this shoe and I was really paying attention to it because I knew I was going to be doing this review, I could feel that tugging, kind of pressing on the inside of my foot. Not enough to make it uncomfortable, and certainly it's me just trying to be a little bit nitpicky, because otherwise the fit been true to size, been very comfortable, haven't had any issues with the upper at all. I do just notice that a bit. Again, not uncomfortable at all, it's just there. So overall the upper is held up really, really well, and if you were to look at this and it was clean, you'd probably think almost that it almost looks like a new upper, except for when I actually got to doing this review, there is just one little nick in the top of this shoe, right on the toe, that I don't think is going to be a problem, but it's the only sort of chink in the armor at all when it comes to the upper. Now when it comes to the midsole of this shoe, this is Saucony's Power Run Plus midsole. Same thing that was in the Triumph 19, but definitely quite a bit softer than the previous Triumph version. And I ultimately really enjoyed that. The one thing that I was a little bit concerned about was whether that would break down a little bit quicker, because that was one of the things that I loved about the Triumph 19 was just how long it felt really good to actually run on. And I'm gonna say, I don't know what Saucony's doing with this Power Run Plus midsole, but unlike a lot of other midsole materials, I'm not really seeing any creasing whatsoever in this midsole. And when I run in this shoe, is it exactly like day one? It's not fair for me to say that it is. Am I feeling a big difference when it comes to energy return, and has it flattened out? I don't really feel like that's happened a whole lot. I feel like this shoe is giving me exactly what I need from it, and the same amount, or almost the same amount of energy return that I got when we first took this shoe out of the box and I went for my first run. Now, when you look at this outsole, I say that I have a little bit over 500 kilometers on this shoe. Mostly that's been run on pavement, sidewalks, quite a bit of snow, quite a bit of ice, because I've been running this through the winter months as I train for a spring marathon. But I've only got about maybe 30 kilometers on a treadmill, so most of it has been run outside. A little bit of crushed rock, a little bit of light path. And again, the outsole, kind of like I say about the midsole and even about the upper, is that if you were to somehow able to clean this up, there's really not a lot of indication of a lot of wear in this. Now, they did change up the pattern quite a bit over the 19 of this outsole rubber, and if there was going to be any fault that I had for this shoe so far, is I personally felt that the 19 did a little bit better in snow and ice, but in terms of wear and tear, very little. A little bit up here in the toe box, but still plenty of kilometers left in that shoe. Nothing really back here on the heel, which I'm a little bit surprised about, because I do use this as a little bit of a recovery and easy day shoe. But overall, the outsole has held up really, really well. Now, if I was to guess how many kilometers I was gonna get out of this shoe based on how the upper is, how the midsole is, and how the outsole is, I'm gonna say easily I should be able to squeeze 1,000 kilometers out of this shoe. Will I actually get there? We're gonna see. You're gonna have to stick around. You're gonna have to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, if you want that update. We're gonna rack up a whole lot more kilometers in this shoe. Now, the one last thing I wanna mention about this shoe is exactly what my use case is, because I feel like it's changed slightly from when I first bought this shoe and what my initial intent was. When I originally bought this, I think my goal was to fit this just into the recovery run, easy day shoe. Also some long runs, but never considered it to be a shoe that I'd want to pick up the pace in, which means it really wasn't the kind of shoe that I necessarily wanted to fit into that pure daily trainer category, because with my daily trainer, I wanted to be able to do a little bit of everything. The difference between the Triumph 20 and the Triumph 19 is that this just, even though it's not a ton lighter, it is lighter than the 19, but it feels lighter on the foot and it has a lot more energy. And I've really felt that I've been able to pick up the paces surprisingly, even though it is fairly max cushion. When you compare it against other shoes like the More V4 or the Glycerin 20, this definitely feels like a shoe that you are able to at least get some strides, pick up some paces. I've even had it on a tempo run. I've done some intervals in this shoe. Is it my first choice? Well, usually not. If I'm doing intervals or tempo, especially if I'm going to stick with Saucony, I'd look at something more like the Endorphin Speed 2, but it's able to do it. And I find myself, what really helps me in my mind define this as my daily trainer is that when I'm not sure what I want to run on a given day, when I'm just getting out there to log some miles, I find myself reaching for this shoe. That's it, guys. That's all I had to say about the Triumph 20 after 500 plus kilometers. A whole lot more of running left to do in this shoe. I am very, very impressed with this. The biggest problem that I've had with the Triumph 20 is trying to figure out exactly what shoe I need to buy next, where I need to fill into that shoe rotation, because this is kind of my do-it-all shoe now. I've been using it for long runs, I've been using it for daily training, and I don't know what to buy next because I don't know where the hole is in my rotation, and it's this guy's fault. All right, guys, my name is Matt, and this is What Matters to Matt. What matters to me most is my family. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.